I just finished Morning Star by Pierce Brown, the third book in the Red Rising saga, the conclusion to the first trilogy, and I was nervous heading into it for those reasons. I'd seen quite a bit of mixed reviews and reception to the closing of this first arc, knowing how the second book ends as well just left me wondering, would this stack up with both Red Rising and Golden Sun, which had me on the edge of my seat the whole entire book and had one of the most memorable endings of a book I've read in recent memory. So, did it do that? I would say that it did, and the way it treated picking up after the brutal fallout of Book 2 Golden Sun felt very appropriate. I like that Brown isn't afraid to knock Darrow down a few pegs and plunge us into the darkness with him. We're thrown back into this world that seems like it is on the brink of inevitable collapse. In Morning Star doesn't waste any time in re-establishing those central stakes that we've been wrestling with since the first book of Red Rising, dealing with this teetering society built on color-coded oppression and our revolutionary Darrow having to pick himself up and rise to reshape everything. And when he's given every reason not to, he does, and that quality of resilience is, I think, what defines this book. Darrow is tortured and stripped of everything. He's forced to rebuild, and I respect Pierce Brown so much because he never shies away from knocking these main characters down over and over again. I think Morning Star, maybe more than any of the other books, succeeds the most in balancing spectacle and humanity because we have these massive space battles, daring rescues, intricate political maneuvers that are all taking place alongside these extremely vulnerable and quiet conversations and interactions between characters whose arcs are ultimately the reason I find these books impossible to put down. These people are flawed and painfully real and play such an important role in serving, especially these side characters, as counterpoints for Darrow's own transformation over the course of the first three books, challenging him to consider the price of this revolution we see unfolding before our eyes. The action scenes in this book are the kind that give me goosebumps, and Pierce Brown's world building continues on through Morning Star on an incredibly engaging path. Even so, with so much to see and experience in this universe, and for all of Morning Star's scale as these books continue to get bigger, Morning Star never feels bloated or overdone. I feel like every beat here feels necessary, properly earned, and led up to. And operating under the assumption that Book 3 is the closing of a certain arc, it feels like both an appropriate and enthralling culmination of so much that happened in the first three books. Up to this point, Brown's storytelling feels honest, it feels like it has courage, though at times the tone of Morning Star, and especially the tone of the ending, feels very dissonant with both Golden Sun and Red Rising to a certain point. I feel like, only being through three books, I can probably assume that that won't last for all that long, considering the fact that a future book is called Dark Age. So, I'm loving this series, and we'll obviously see where things are going from here.